Tanshe Kiowao Essay de Shinikashun, Nia Nehiyo, Pemichif, Treaty 6 Du Shin, Clackamas Calipilla, Pechanuk, Latar Niwikin, Mon Fami, Shinikashu, Lawrence Anderson, Peak, Arda P. Hey everyone, I'm Essay and I am the board vice president of the chapter house, and I'm so excited to be inviting you all tonight to hang out with us for our very first artist spotlight. We have a really cool guest up and an even cooler host, our chapter host, board secretary, Isabella Robbins, who I will introduce right now. Izzy. Okay, let's unmute you, friend. There you go. And I'll let you take it from here.
Cool. Hi, everybody. Yaat She'e Isabella Robbins Yinisha, Bilagana Nishla, Hashkanaza Bashishchin, Do Bilagana Dashache, Do Nakaidina and Dashanella, Akut Ego Dina Sana Nishla. Hey, everybody. My name is Isabella Robbins. Like Essay mentioned, I'm the chapter house board secretary. I'm currently a second year PhD student at Yale. I'm studying Indigenous art history. But yeah, I'm really excited to be here with y'all tonight, hosting our first artist spotlight. We have a super exciting show this evening. And our beloved featured guest is Gabe Colhoff of the band 1876. 1876 was formed in early 2020 and immediately debuted the EP Powwow Punk Rock, with notable sounds that any powwow goer will recognize, combined with the aggressive guitar playing, catchy melodies, and political lyrics of the punk world. 1876 expresses their unique perspective as, quote, the city Indians your auntie warned you about. 1876 proudly represents both the Northern Cheyenne and the Blackfeet Nation, singing in both languages. From sweat lodges to punk clubs, 1876 helps shed light on a narrative often neglected by the music industry. So without further ado, welcome Gabe Colhoff of 1876.
What up, world?
Hey, Gabe. How's it going?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. You have the honor of being our first artist spotlight, which is super exciting, and I know people will be looking forward to hearing you play some music a little later on. But yeah, just to jump right into things, I would love to know how you got started in music, why music particularly, and I'd also love to know what 1876 is a reference to, if it is a reference to anything.
Yeah, so I kind of have always done music. I come from a pretty musical family. My mom plays guitar, sings, and my dad plays the spoons real mean. And I mean, like, just being Indian in general, like, we're always singing, like singing hand drum songs, like sweating. I would sing in sweat, powwows. Like, I never sang at a powwow, but you sing the songs that you know at powwows along with them. And I don't know, man.
Neon Moon.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But like, music's just always kind of been my thing, and I think the thing that made me like start it and really want to be a musician was Prince. And specifically, like, how my mom would get so excited when she would watch Prince. Like, I would watch the music videos with her, and I was like, that's what I want to do. I don't know if I want to wear the shoes that he wears, but I want to do what he's doing. I can't do the splits like he can, but maybe I can make people excited the way he makes people excited, But
cool.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Music's just, it's what I was meant to do. I don't know how else to explain it. But then the 1876 thing, I recently learned that that's like also a Canadian like treaty thing. I didn't know that, but it's for me as Northern Cheyenne and Blackfeet. There's a morning star. 1876 was June 25th and 26th of 1876. is when we defeated the U.S. military, and it's like a big win for us. But most importantly, as a like philosophy kind of, it was the Northern Cheyenne, the Blackfeet, the Arapaho, and a bunch of different kinds of Lakotas, or a bunch of different kinds of Sioux, all got together and kind of put their differences aside and was like, hey, we got this thing that we need to accomplish, which was the cavalry coming in and trying to take everything from us. And so I just kind of I wanted to name the band after that, to highlight the idea that if we support each other, we put our differences aside and we stand with each other like shoulder to shoulder, we have the home field advantage no matter what. We're at home. So we can accomplish as partners what everybody says cannot be done. Anytime anybody says, oh, you can't do this, you guys, whatever obstacle they decide to put in our way as Indian people, if we do it together and if we stand together, it'll happen. We'll make it happen.
That's awesome. Except the crows, am I right? Just kidding. Just kidding.
West Coast Grizz, that dude's hitting it, man.
Is he a musician also?
Yeah, he's Crow, and he's down in Arizona all the time.
Nice. Okay, I was kidding, but no, that's awesome, and I love the historical technically as a historian, I love the conversation between our histories and our present and our future. And on that note, I'm wondering also what's the importance of tying your nation's language to your music. I was listening to your work this week getting ready for this interview, and I loved I think the words, the music, the your lyrics in other languages besides English, but also the sounds. I thought it was so beautifully crafted between, the powwow music and then your obviously very punk rock music. And I would love to hear you talk a little bit more about language specifically, but also these other, very tribally specific sounds.
Yeah, for me, I don't speak my language as well as I wish I did. The Catholics did a really good job taking that from my people. But I learn what I can, I say what I can, and I make sure that what I'm saying is not disrespectful. So like the song Isoko Yisit is Blackfeet. It means sing. So in the song, I say Pigana Soko Yisit, Pikuni Soko Yisit, Siksika Soko Yisit. So the Blackfeet are made up of the Pigan, the Pikuni, and the Siksikas. So I'm just shouting out those individual sections in the tribe and saying like, sing with me, sing. It is like a command. Isoko Yisit means like sing, like I'm telling you, sing. And then like the Northern Cheyenne language, like I think the first song, Tribes and Tribulations, it's kind of like it's this thing that we say, Maheo Nishipat Tememen. It means like the creator, like asking the creator to pity us. But for me to put that in music, it was really important because it helps keep the language alive in a way. And I feel like regardless of who's saying it, the people on the other side, my ancestors on the other side, when they hear that, they come towards that. So, but like by the time it's time for me to go, if my music's still here and people are still singing what I have written or saying the words that I wrote in my language, regardless of tribe, regardless of race, if people are still singing that, I'm going to hear it and I'm going to come and sing with them. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, I don't know, man. I always, as a kid, I've always wanted to hear a musical representation of Native people in a way that wasn't cheesy. Because like I heard a lot of music growing up that was like kind of commercialized, and I don't know if the artist had control of what they were doing or if it was like a record label, because that's how it was set up back then. your record label kind of told you what to do. But there was just certain artists that I would hear, for instance, like Lightfoot. Lightfoot had a song talking about arrowheads in the sky while tomahawks fly and all this stuff. And I was like, we don't talk like that, dude. Like, nobody talks like that. I don't know why you know what I mean? Like, I was like, where is it getting this from? But I just wanted to write music and represent Indians in a way that I know. I mean, we're out here in these streets, man. I live in Portland. We've been out here. My family's been out here since the 40s. So every musical thing that has ever come through here, we've been a part of it. Hip hop, punk rock, rock and roll, all that stuff. We've been a part of it. And I just wanted to do it in a way that I felt wasn't cheesy. Something that if I was a kid and I heard it, I'd have been like, dang, like, I want to do whatever they're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's really cool too. That I mean, it's important that you mention like the cheesiness of it all, because I think it's something. It's kind of like, I think we've been ingrained with these ideas that like any representation is good representation, right? Yeah. But that's not always true, because, you know, sometimes these things are just showing us what other non-native people want to see. And I've been thinking about that a lot with like TV, because I watch a lot of TV, but there's, you know, sometimes it's not just about having native representation. It's about having like good, relatable stuff. That's really hard to come by, and I definitely see that in music as well. So I think that's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree. Like, I think the representation of Native Americans, it's a thin line, man. Like, because like, I'm not, I don't know. I'm not exactly what like people want to see when they think of Indians. You know what I mean? Like, I hear it on a daily basis. Like, people see me and they're like, "Oh, you're white." I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's kind of what happens when you get taken over." You know what I mean? And with music, with musicians, I've seen people blow up who kind of like really play the part. And I don't know. I think it's really important for all types of representation of Native Americans to be represented. That's like Black, Indigenous people like me who I'm two tribes and I'm white, I'm Spanish. So there's a lot of me out there. There's a lot of people who look like me, and I didn't see that growing up. And that's what I want to be. I want to be something that I didn't see growing up, so that somebody else can be like, oh, okay, I am normal. This is a regular occurrence now.
Yeah, no, those are all super great points. But yeah, I love all that. And yeah, I mean, I know the people want to hear some music coming up here soon, but could you tell us a little bit about the song you're going to play?
Yeah, so the first song is called 27. I wrote it when I was 27, and I'm not that anymore. But I was just going through some really, really hard times. It's kind of a downer song. I hope I don't bum anybody out, but it's unreleased. I haven't released it. It's only an acoustic song. There's no full version yet. If people want a full version, I'll definitely do it. But it's just about, I was on my motorcycle one night, going like really, really fast through the city, just in a really bad place. And when I got home, I sat up all night and was like, what was I doing? Like, what did I just do? Like, I had all these crazy thoughts going on in my head. So I just grabbed my guitar and started writing all these thoughts that I had. And then it turned into a song, and people I've showed it to seem to like it. So I kept it.
That's awesome. Well, I'm sure we'll enjoy it. So with that, I'll let you take it away. All right. Then we'll come back for some more questions.
Cool. Let me get some water. Lately I've been feeling like I'm Kurt Cobain, pain resonating from my stomach to the bullet penetrated in my my brain, still I maintain. Tell myself that maybe soon I'll change, but facing all the problems that I wallow with in vain. But I don't really think that I'm patient enough to deal with all the pressure that's building up. If left to my devices, I self-destruct. Maybe I'm just tired of giving up. I have no fear of dying, more the thought of not living to my potential, the worst, not even trying it. I'm sick of always sitting on my ass and never acting like I'm worth more. Excuses I rely on, tell myself I'm comfortable with the struggle of avoiding the bills of supporting the more important. The dreams I've always chased, making music and recording. I go to sleep and live a place to wake up every morning to alarm clocks telling me I'm late for work again. There's gotta be a way to stop this pain. Monotony is not me, I miss you when I used to be free. Going 95 through the city lights, and I'm not slowing down. Illuminated in the starlight, and still I can't be found. Are you living? Then you're living, then you gotta stay living, just breathe. Going 95 through the city lights, it'll be alright, be alright. Through the city lights, misunderstood. Yep, that's what I tell myself. The truth is that I probably got a problem with my mental health. Living in a constant back and forth struggle. All I'm looking for is trouble. It's what they tell me, yeah, they think they know me. Drowsy and irritated from all this pill taking. I'm fighting addictions to prescriptions, but I still take them. Chemically altered personality won't change. Friend, that's all I really need. Cause I've been going through these things in my mind. Don't no one pay me no time. Scared to look in my eyes. I tell them all that I'm fine, but I'm lying. Desperately now I am trying to find a way out. What's the way out? What's the way now? No one can see out. Lots of cuts it on my brain too loud and I can break out. Head is heavy, heart is heavy, hands are ready, but it's steady. If I do make it back, I pray you please forgive me. If I don't make it back, then please forgive me, yeah. And I'm not slowing down, illuminated in the starlight, still I can't be found. If you're living, then you're living, yeah, you gotta stay living, just breathe. Going 95 through the city lights, it'll be alright, be alright. Through the city lights,
Woo! That was awesome. Thank you. So that was 27. Great song. Thanks for doing that for us. And I'm realizing now that we kind of just jumped right in to talking and asking questions, but I think I think everyone in the audience would love to know a little bit more about you, where you're from, where you're currently at, and just anything that we didn't get, in the bio, the brief bio that I said.
My name is Gabe Colhoff. I'm from Portland, Oregon, born and raised. I'm Blackfeet in Northern Cheyenne. I'm trying not to burp because I just drank some water. My mom's Blackfeet. That's my Blackfeet side is the Gardapies. So a lot of the Gardapies I'm related to. Not all of them. If they owe you money, I'm not related to them. And then on the Cheyenne side, I'm related to the Rolands and the Red Cherries. So, just grew up in Portland. I got two older brothers, and it was pretty much just us for a long time. Most of the Indians that were out here were Grand Ron and things like that. So we were one of the only Plains Indian families out here. I've been playing music since I started a band when I was 13 with my best friend Mark, who drums in this group now.
Cool.
We've just been playing. We played for a few years, and then I joined another band, and then I toured with them and played shows with them. And that band my brother was in, and I was in that band for a long, long time, and then now I'm doing this.
Nice.
Many
So
years.
you're the baby also of your family?
I am the baby. I'm the most
I
handsome,
am too.
and I'm the cutest because I'm the baby.
I'm also the most handsome and the cutest in my family. No, that's awesome. Thanks. And sorry for not giving you more time before, but no, it seems like you have like a really interesting history, and I'm always curious, how people, I don't know, I just feel like as Native people, especially those of us who, make music or make art, a lot of times I think what fuels us is often these really heavy topics, that we have to deal with. And I'm just curious, doing all of that and dealing with the topics that you deal with. And I know later on, even the song you're going to play for us, Mia, is a little heavy, but I would love to know, how do you take care of yourself during all of this? I'm sure music plays a big role in that, but, I think, just how do you do it? Because I think a lot of times people need to hear and see examples of taking care of yourself.
Yeah, it's kind of a hard one. I grew up sweating Cheyenne style. Like I grew up in a Cheyenne sweat, and I really relied on that. And I don't have it anymore as an adult, so it's a little harder. But a lot of the traditions and things that I was taught when I was a kid, like burning medicine and talking to your ancestors, talking to the other side and praying and things like that. I do a lot of that. I do a lot of riding on my motorcycle. I just go out and try and think and get through things. I write music. I don't. Taking care of yourself is extremely important, and it can be a really, really hard thing to do. One of the things that I do, like one of the things that I keep in my mind is like I don't smoke and I rarely drink. Like I try and keep those things out of my world because it doesn't really do anything to help me. It's not helping me get forward. And how I was raised traditionally is you really only want to keep things around you that are helping you move forward. If they're trying to hold you back or trying to make you escape, I stay away from all that stuff. So I would say it's because I'm Northern Cheyenne. I'm very confrontational with my battles, my internal battles and things like that. Like that's part of the 1876 thing. Like, I don't run from my problems. I don't run from any issues that I have. I hit them head on. You can't always do it alone, which is a great example of what happened on June 25th, 26th of 1876. We as Northern Cheyenne people and the Sioux, we know that we can do things on our own, but we knew we couldn't do this on our own. So we all joined together and things like that. So when I need help, I ask for help. When I need to talk to somebody, I talk to somebody. And when people here can't give me help or can't help me with the answers that I need, I talk to the people on the other side. I don't go there, but I talk to them over there, and I pray and burn medicine and all that. But for me, writing music is the biggest part of taking care of myself. And sometimes I need to be alone. So hopping on my bike, working out some lyrics, working out some songs. That's the best way I take care of myself.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that's all really important. And, mental health is key. It's important. It's vital. And asking for help is super important, which I'm going to do right now, but because I need help with a question. That was my poorly planned segue into saying that we have a question from the audience. Emma Robbins, our dear Chapter House founder and director, says, you mentioned Prince. What's your favorite Prince song? And even without the shoes, will that ever be a cover? Smiley face.
So my favorite song is I don't like to tell. I'll tell you, but I don't like to tell people because I think I'm like I feel like it's the song that all like, what is it called? Like people who say they like Prince, but they don't really know much about him. Like a poser, like a Prince poser. My favorite song is When Doves Cry. And the reason why I like that song so much is it was the first song ever that I heard. And I was like, oh, that's what music is. Like I was like 4 or 5 years old when I heard it. And some of the lyrics that he was saying reminded me of my home life. And I was like, oh, this old dude knows what I'm feeling. Because I was like, I thought he was old, but he was probably like my age now. But yeah, so it's like a sentimental value that makes me really like that song. And then my second favorite, it's a toss-up between Delirious and Could You Be the Most Beautiful Girl in the World. I love that song. But as far as a cover, I would, if I was ever going to do a cover, I would first buy the shoes. And then I'd probably cover When Doves Cry.
You know, some songs I feel like are just timeless, and even though they're not the most like deep tracks, you know, they're still good, and we can appreciate that. And he was like a legend for a reason, or is a legend for a reason, and it's partially because of When Doves Cry. So that's awesome. Are there any other like artists that inspire you, or that you look to, or that you listen to growing up in particular?
Yeah. The first two songs, so around that same time that I heard that Prince song and related it to my own life at like 4 or 5, I also heard oh man, it's an REM song. Losing My Religion. And that song, like I don't know if my head is so big because I have so many thoughts, but like when I was a kid, I understood like, oh yeah, my people used to have a religion and we don't anymore. Like that's how when I heard him say losing my religion, I was like, yeah, I come from people who lost their religion too. And I was like 4. and then as juvenile as you can be, like, and he says, that's me in the corner. And I was like, yeah, I've been in corners before. I know what that's like. So that's the only REM song I really like, but other artists that I listen to that inspire me is it's a very, very long list for very different reasons. But there's punk bands like Rancid is one of my favorite punk rock bands. Gente de Zona is a reggaeton like group from, I think they're from Cuba, but their sound, like they use live horns and all this stuff, like they really bring Cuba with them when they perform. And that's like how I want to that's how I want to bring my people. I want people to know what Northern Cheyennes look like, what Blackfeet people look like, and what we sound like. We don't sound like Indians. We sound like Northern Cheyennes and Blackfeet. We're from the plains, you know? Just the same way that they're from Cuba. People are going to think, oh, you're from like some island. You're just like Puerto Ricans. Like, no, we're from Cuba. This is what Cuba is. That's the kind of stuff like that inspires me. It's a different style of music, obviously, but it makes me.
Yeah.
It helps me guide me to what I want to do. And especially like there's a lot of, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, keep going. It's literally your spotlight.
Hey, that's in the REM song. He says, that's me in the spotlight, losing my religion.
I didn't know that.
On our Instagram, we've been highlighting Black bands and artists that inspire 1876. So if you keep up with us, then I've been given a lot of insight into some of these artists, how they've inspired me. But that's a really long list too. Like today, I think I put down Saul Williams. Saul Williams is a poet, and he also does music. And he's like, he had this song called Black Stacy that I heard when I was, I think, 15. And when I heard that song, like, it's about him he's from Haiti, So it's about him being like him feeling like he's too black. Growing up, he felt like his skin was too black, and kids would make fun of him. They called him Black Stacy. And I'm obviously not black, but I felt that way about being white growing up, being a half breed. Not like Cher, but just being an actual half breed. I'd have Indians making fun of me for being white and like pinning me down and slapping me in the cheeks and saying like, "Watch how he turns red," and then I have like white kids and all the other races like not liking me because I was too different, especially white kids. White kids did not like me because I was so different, and everyone thought I was Korean or Chinese or something. So his song is about feeling uncomfortable in his own skin and wishing that his complexion was different. And I felt the same way. I have felt the same way for a long time. And that's why I'm covered in tattoos. I didn't like my skin, so I started covering it in tattoos. But he definitely, his vulnerability, I don't know how to say that, but he's super vulnerable in his writing, and that challenges me because I try to stay guarded. So he definitely inspires me in my writing. Whole Wheat Bread is a 3-piece black band they're a punk band. These 3 black dudes from Jacksonville, Florida. And the way that they wrote, they would write about their perspective as 3 black kids in a pretty white world, because they went to school in the suburbs and would skateboard, and like they were in the punk scene, they were in punk clubs just like me. And I don't know, I just they're also a huge inspiration. Flogging Molly is a giant inspiration. They're an Irish punk band. I just like they use their instruments. They're like I don't know what it's called, the cultural instruments. And there's also a band called I can't remember the Real Mackenzies. They're a Scottish band. I think they're Canadian, but they're like also Irish. But they use like bagpipes, and they also use like cultural instruments and do punk rock. And so I would say those 3 bands are the most influential on my music because they're using their culture and speaking through punk rock, which is what I'm trying to do. So
yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, I love hearing these like profound childhood moments you have where you like discover this song, and it reminds me of like, I think I was like 4 and I had this Elmo cassette player and it had like Butterfly by Mariah Carey. But I remember listening to Always Be My Baby, and that was like my favorite song. And then I didn't like, this was before obviously like Shazam and stuff like that. And then I hadn't heard it for years, and then I heard it on the radio again, and I was like, what is this song? Like,
dude, it takes
bringing me back to my 4-year-old self. So
yeah, it's nuts. Sometimes, dude, like, do you ever smell something that you smelled like a long time ago, and then you go back to like, one of the songs that does that to me is no, not Graffiti Bridge, that's Prince. It's a Red Hot Chili Peppers song. It's like their first like big song. It's something about a bridge, underneath the bridge.
Water Under the Bridge.
I don't know. It's Under the Bridge. There it is. Yeah. That song, dude. When I hear that song, I think about being like 3 or 4, maybe 5 years old, and walking on the dusty road in my neighborhood, and in the summer specifically. Like, I have this really vivid memory every time I hear it. And yeah, dude. Or Spiderwebs by No Doubt. I heard that for the first time in Browning for one of my grandma's funerals. And so, like, it seems like something that would be sad to remember, but it was like, I was like 6. So hearing awesome music on the res with all my cousins and family, I think about that when I hear that song every time.
It's a good song, though. I miss No Doubt. I miss Gwen Stefani when she was in No Doubt.
Yeah, dude, she was sick. And No Doubt, she's still here, but
She does like country music now or something, which there's nothing wrong with that, but
Yeah.
Dope. Yeah. So we actually have an audience question. Essay, if you want to throw that up. Katie Jans says, "Can you talk about everything that is on your wall and your guitar?"
Yeah. So this is Buffalo Calf Road Woman. She is also known as Sister Who Saved Her Brother. So it's called in the Battle of Little Bighorn. We call it the Battle of Greasy Grass. It's a really, really long story, but long story short, she saved her brother from a bunch of soldiers who surrounded them and tried to kill him. She was hiding. Like when we would go to war, women usually had the chance to fight or hide. Kind of like they would hide, and then if they needed to fight, they would fight. So she was hiding in a bush with everyone else, with all the other women, and she noticed her brother got surrounded, and she jumped out of the bush, knocked a soldier off his horse, took his horse, swung around and grabbed her brother, threw him on the horse, and then bounced. And then when we were fighting Custer, like a couple of days later, Custer was like riding off and rode past her, and she just shoved him off his horse. And she's the reason why he was even able to get caught. So that's her.
Iconic.
Yeah. Oh, dude. It's like a hero. Like, oh my God. It's the epitome of strength, of women's strength, man. Like it is the example of what women do for like the world. Like I don't know. That's why I'm so proud to have her on my wall, but I'm proud that she's even part of my blood somewhere. This is a bustle that my auntie gave me. I think it's made of like duck or something. But my auntie in Browning, she gave it to me. This is like this really old puzzle. It's from 1949, and it's like a straight arrow. It's called Straight Arrow Western TV show. And in the picture, you can't see it, but in the picture, it's this like Indian dude holding up a cowboy above his head, throwing him, and he's kicking another cowboy in the stomach, and then there's a cowboy falling behind him like he just beat them all up. I thought it was like nothing explains how I want to be better than that. This is a painting of the Morning Star by my brother. And then this is a painting by Adrian Larvey. He's a Lakota artist here in Portland that my dad gave me. And then this skull is a cow skull that my grandpa painted. And it used to hang on his door way back in the day. And it's just sick. There's a bunch of stuff up here. There's a drawing.
Lots of artists in your family.
Yeah, man. I mean, we're Indian. Like art that's us. Like that's our thing.
Yeah.
And then my guitar, I just have I have this. It says "Our women are targeted," because I don't think I need to explain that. It's absolutely true. They're like whoever it is. Like I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but the people who are targeting us, they're targeting our women specifically because they're targeting our futures. They don't. I don't know. I don't want to get too far into it, but here's the Blackfeet flag, the Northern Cheyenne flag. This is the flag of the Determined Nation, which is kind of what I call like myself. I feel like I'm part of a determined nation. This is FTP Records. It's my record company. He's a little ermine dude and a hawk feather. It's kind of like symbolism, like for Plains Indians. We believe that ermine and things, the underground people, they bring messages and things as well as sky people. And so often, like you see Plains Indians from my tribes. I can't speak for everybody's tribe, but for my tribes, you see the ermine on their faces, and it's about trying to have clear messages. And when you speak, it goes to where it's supposed to go. So I just have it on the guitar because I want to speak the truth. So I get it from both sides. And I think that's it. My brother's dog passed away, so I wrote his name on here. His name is Jax.
Rip Jax.
I know. R.I.P. But yeah, that's it.
Cool. Thanks for sharing that with us. And we actually have one more audience question before we keep it moving. But Joseph Thornton, my partner, says, you touched on representation and impact earlier, but how do you think hearing music like yours on the radio or digitally, especially with the inclusion of native languages, would have impacted you growing up?
Yeah, that's a really good one. I think it would have taught me lessons that it took years to learn. I think it would have taught me earlier. It would have probably taught me a lot of self-love, a lot of accepting what I am and accepting who I am. Because I don't know, I don't know if it's all Indians or if it's just half-breeds, but you go through this like metamorphosis kind of. You go through all these stages of wishing you were this, wishing you were that, wishing you didn't look this way, wishing you whatever. And you kind of just get caught in the middle regardless. You're not quite this and you're not quite that. I'm too Indian to be white, I'm too white to be Indian. So I think had I heard my own songs back when I was a kid, I would just know that at least there's a world somewhere for me. That in punk clubs or something, where the band who would be singing whatever music I'm playing or whatever, I would know that they're speaking to me, and that they've created a place where I can exist and be just me. They're not asking me to be anything but me. That's what I want for people. That's what I'm hoping gets through. So I think that's probably the biggest way it would have impacted me. I think also I would have understood our place as Native people better. I think a lot of people, I mean, growing up in the city, man, like Indians are all modern people, but we're never seen that way. We're seen as straight arrow dude. You know what I mean? Like, we're seen as this photo. Like they just think that a lot of people think we're history. We're not here. Like if you ever go to a costume store, you see that like the Indian costumes are they're always right next to cavemen, because that's what they think we are, history. So being modern Indians, and especially me growing up in the city, hearing this music and hearing like a modern take, hearing punk rock with our own instruments and our own language, I think it just would have helped me identify as a modern person and not get too lost in feeling like we aren't part of the world, part of this, like part of society. I feel like I was often treated and talked to like I'm not part of society, but I pay taxes, so I contribute to this society. Yeah.
You're on my land.
Exactly.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think what you're saying resonates with a lot of people. I mean, that's what my sisters and I grew up thinking, having to deal with those struggles and, dealing also with like issues of blood quantum and, quantifying yourself and stuff like that. I think really messes you up. But, I think what you said is all true. It's good to have representations and, come to term with who we are. And I actually saw something the other day that was like, because I'm Navajo and Jewish, but I saw a tweet the other day from another like Native and Jewish person, and it was like, I'm 100% Native, I'm 100% Jewish. I'm not, quantified into anything. I'm expanded, which I love, thinking about that because, it's just beautiful to be a part of many cultures, many tribes, whatever. So I think, what you're saying really, we hear you, we see you, we understand.
I was one time at the Delta Park Powwow here in Portland. I saw, when I was really, really little, I saw this dude. He was also Indian and Jewish, and he had a beaded yarmulke.
Yeah.
It was like fully beaded. Like, it was sick.
I know. The native Jews, what's the word? I don't know. I forget. I say Navajo because I'm Navajo and Jewish, but we get pretty creative, So that's cool. But yeah, I mean, I think we're kind of gonna wind down here a little bit and hear you do one more song, but just one more question that I was thinking of, before you take it away with your music again, is just like, what do you think your role is in your community, both as being an ally? I mean, you've talked a lot about like women and the struggles that particularly Native women have. You've talked about, the influence of Black artists, of Black Native artists, but, how are you an ally? How do you use, maybe some of the privileges you have to further your communities or to help your communities? And what do you think other people in similar positions should be doing?
Yeah, it's kind of a hard question to answer because, like, for my allyship with women, like, I feel like that question is best answered by Indian women. Like, it's hard for me to answer that because I feel like they're the ones that should be speaking. Like, I have a little council of cousins and my mom and my wife and stuff. Like, those are the people that I talk to. I think it's really important for me as a man to get the perspective of the women who care about me, and just generally, women don't have to care about me for me to value what they say. I think women in general have very valuable perspectives, extremely valuable, because their perspective on the world is different than mine as a man. But my traditions have taught me a lot. The traditions of Blackfeet, specifically because my mom's Blackfeet. Like they say, if you have a Blackfeet mother, you'll never be scared of anything in the world because nothing's scary than a Blackfeet mother. But
that's good to know because my one of my best friends is Blackfeet and she's pregnant. So
oh man,
her kid will be afraid of nothing.
Dude, when she has that kid and that kid messes up for the first time, watch her eyes. You're gonna shiver, man. It's gonna be the scariest thing you've ever seen. But my family specifically, I think it's very universal for Blackfeet and probably for most Indians, but for my family specifically, I come from a really, really strong like lineage of women. And the thing, like, there's absolutely no way I would be here today without them. No doubt. Everything that they had to fight, everything they had to experience, everything they did, they got through, and I don't really know how to say it. I don't know how to word it, but they're just the strongest women I think will probably ever exist, and they just happen in my family. And I still have family, like I have cousins today who I'm in awe of. Like I really respect, because I don't know how they do what they do as women. Like I feel like as a man, my life is so easy, like in comparison. But for like my community, I do, because one thing that I noticed when I like in my mid-20s or something, I started noticing I worked at this hospital, and I had all these like non-Indian people asking me really ignorant questions, but they weren't asking it like out of spite or trying to be like jerks or whatever.
Mhm.
Like they were asking me because they were actually curious and they felt comfortable asking me because I look like them. Like they could see themselves in me. And at first, like for a while, it was kind of like, yeah, it was doctors. A lot of doctors were asking me really ignorant questions, like really well-educated people asking me really dumb questions that I thought, how could you not know that? But then I started understanding that that they just saw themselves in me and that they're asking me because they felt like they could listen to me. Like I reflect them because I look like them. It's easier for them to listen to me instead of somebody like my mom or any of my cousins who are a little bit darker. They're going to be scared to talk to them. They're going to be scared to ask them questions. But because I'm white, they feel like I'm safe. So I started, it was really frustrating at first and it was really like offensive at first. And then I started seeing my role as a person who can help educate ignorant people like that because they're trying, they're asking questions. So I felt like that's kind of my role as a mixed person. Like I can kind of advocate for both sides and maybe try and get a dialogue going. And I feel that that's kind of my role in life. I have my feet in many different worlds and I try to help communicate both sides as well as I can and open doors. If I can get through a door, I'll hold that door open for the person who really needs to get through. It's not about, it's about what, I don't know, it's about the other person.
Yeah.
I had a really good answer in my head and then I got distracted.
That was a beautiful answer, I thought. Because I mean, I see myself in a similar role. I think educating other people is really important because that's just the situation we're in. So yeah, no, I hear that. I think that was a really smart, beautiful answer. So thank you for that. And with that, let's hear some more music, if that's cool with you.
Yeah. Hopefully I don't mess this one up. All right, so this song is on Power Punk Rock. It's the last song. It's called Mia. It's a hard one. We grew up at the end of a dirt road. She has a dog on a chain on the side of a double wide home. When she wears a crooked smile, her eyes will hide behind the dark and fine hair that grace your face of youth. Mia grew up at the end of a dirt road. There's a camp near town full of men who were mining for coal. When she walks from school, don't grown men will follow, whistle and insult the skin that grace her face of youth. Mia grew up at the end of a dirt road. Grown men watch from a truck on the side of a double wide home. So now when she walks from school dome, she takes a duck, so she is not alone to try and save her grace and youth. body washed up in a lake near a dirt road. She has bruises around her throat, her clothes are torn. A dog lays on its side, its feet are bound and tied, bullets in each eye. The feds called it suicide. They said Mia was depressed, she had a sickness in her head. They blamed her death on her instead of them. And now the girls in town are scared, as one by one they disappear. While the country burns and starts to genocide. Oh. Mia was 9 years old. Mia was 9 years old. Mia was 9 years old. Mia was 9 years old.
Thanks for that. That was really beautiful. I definitely am sitting with the lyrics, I think, but maybe just as a reflection, as we wrap up, you can tell us a little bit more about that song.
Yeah.
If you want.
Yeah, it's a story we all know. Unfortunately, as Indian people, every one of us has that story. Every one of us knows that story. I think probably from the second verse, we all know where it's going as Indian people. So it's based on a true story that I heard about this girl in Billings that they found. And it was just, I couldn't understand how the police could say that it was suicide, that she was mentally ill, that she had done what they had found to herself. Like, I just couldn't, I don't know. So it's based on a true story, and it's a true story we all know. That's about all I can say.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to pivot out of this or anything like that, but I definitely think what you were saying, seeing and hearing the music that you needed to hear as a kid is hopefully reflected in that song for a lot of people, and maybe a lot of young kids too, but that is really beautiful. And I appreciate you sharing all of that with us. Sorry. But with that, I think we're gonna wrap up here. It's 8:00 where I am, but thank you so much, Gabe. Dog. For joining us. We all really appreciated it. Just wanted to know if you have any final thoughts. Definitely let's plug the band.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, there you go. I appreciate you letting me be on here. I hope.
Yeah, of course.
I hope I was cool enough. Like,
you were really cool.
I kind of ramble sometimes. It's
all good.
It's the what is it called, the thing that we're all in, the pandemic, the panoramic, Panasonic. I don't get to talk to people anymore.
Yeah, no, it's real. But yeah, I'm getting messages here on the backstage asking you to show the dog.
Oh, okay. Two Socks, come here. Two Socks, come here.
Two Socks, come here. No, yeah, thank you so much for joining us, though. Like I said, a lot of what you said resonated with a lot of people, I'm sure. A lot of what we talk about at the chapter house is being of two socks. But being of, these different identities that are complicated. And, I feel that in your music. I feel that in your words. So thanks so much for being here with us. Everybody, make sure you follow 1876 Band on Instagram. Support their music on Bandcamp, and anywhere else you can. Thanks, Gabe, so much for being with us. Two Socks, we love you. We love you too, Gabe. Cool. So with that, unless you have anything else to say, I think we'll close out.
Good. Thank you.
All right.